If you cut the noise, you're not going to need more motivation. You're actually going to need less. Most people aren't unfocused. They're overstimulated and underdecided. Today, we fix that. This is the Nickolas Natali Show, and I'm your host, Nickolas Natali. And today I'm here to help you, specifically if you're a founder, grow faster by simplifying what matters and executing with discipline. If you want more output with potentially less stress, you're in the right place. By the end of this episode, you will have a simple 4-part system to build focus and real mental toughness. You'll know exactly what to cut, what to keep, and how to bounce back when life hits hard. This is something that probably most founders have run into. You stack too much up on your plate. Maybe you got client fires. And I'm talking like when there's a fire you need to put out, urgent request from a client, they're freaking out. You got to be the one to handle it. Maybe you're running a new offer. You also want to take care of your physical fitness, so you're trying to schedule out your training. You got some family stuff going on. Your time bandwidth essentially has zero margin to it. You're just stacked to the brim every single day, and you're just trying to squeeze more time. I've done that. I've been there. And there's those moments where you have something scheduled, and especially, let's just say it's family stuff or training, whichever one you feel like this relates to you most. And you're about to start doing that thing. You're about to hang out with your family, and then your phone goes off, and you see the phone light up with the urgent, like this needs to be fixed now. What are you going to do? Or maybe it's 9 p.m. and you're trying to finally start winding down, and then the notification goes off, and you're like, I got to handle this. There's 2 ways I'm going to talk around this, and then I'm going to talk to the specifics. The first is, in all areas of life, and maybe this is just me being a little more black and white, there's a keep and there's a kill list. And most of the time we have more things on our keep list than on our kill list, and more things that need to move from our keep list over to our kill list. And some really easy things that I'm just going to rattle off the top of the dome here that are no-brainers to move to the kill list is meetings without decisions. Essentially, most meetings that don't have an agenda don't need to happen. And there's tons of studies. I'm not going to quote them here, but you can look into it about how much waste goes into meetings that didn't necessarily need to happen amongst organizations. I'm not saying you should be a no meeting kind of organization if that's your thing and that's your culture, but I would say be very wise about how you use them, especially if it's weighing on your personal bandwidth and overall energy. The next would be fake urgent tasks. So things that feel like they need to get done right now, but in actuality aren't important. Of course, doom scrolling. And then lastly would be extra caffeine to mask fatigue. Like essentially, if I just have a couple more cups of coffee, that's what's going to get me through today. And it's like, dude, you just need to chill out. So all that being said, rest can be productive when it increases your total output on the one thing that matters, and everything that is not required to keep doing the one thing that matters is essentially a distraction. So that's what we're talking about. There's a saying that basically you revert back to your training when it's game day. Game's on the line, there's some pressure, and then you got to turn your noggin off. Your training's going to kick in and be the reason something performs or doesn't perform. I think mental toughness can have components of that, and mental toughness can be seen as the likelihood that thing, that roadblock, that obstacle, how far it pushes you away from the main objective that you're driving down toward. I'm like envisioning a video game where it's like you get hit by the thing and you need to Mario Kart's a great example. It's like you get hit by a green turtle shell. How far are you bouncing before you're able to course correct back into the center of the road? So here's the 4 things for focus and mental toughness. The first is your overall tolerance. And you can think of this kind of like a fuse. And I don't mean like when people say they lost their fuse, that might be temper. But essentially, how long can you tolerate something until it rattles you? And whatever you just thought about is probably the length of your fuse. You want to lengthen that fuse. So if you get a Slack message at 8 p.m., is that going to rattle you? You get a no-show for your sales call, is that going to rattle you? You get feedback that is not positive, is that going to rattle you? You're going to be done for the day? Or are there things that you can do to essentially say, all right, that happened. I'm going to return back to homeostasis here because I know. Which leads me to the second thing in this framework is basically how far do you drop? You know, the mental fortitude do you have when something does happen? Are you just like, bam, I'm out. No show on the sales call calendar. I can't do this anymore. This is it. And you just spiral and you miss an entire day because this one thing triggered you in such a way where it basically blasted the remaining productive hours that you could have utilized. And the solution here might be to have a pre-committed floor. So something bad happens, you know how far you will be able to drop down. And what I mean by that is, let's say a no-show happens. That's your thing, or you get that bad constructive feedback, whatever it is. It could be when this thing happens, or if I break the plan of like maybe I doom scrolled when I was supposed to be locking in on this thing, I'm just going to take a quick 5-minute walk. I'm going to snag some water and I'm going to reset. Like I'm going to have a reset process in place, which is what leads me to number 3, which is the rebound. You know, having a restart ritual that will return you to your baseline, because basically it gets you back in the game as quickly as possible or as quickly as necessary. 4 would be adaptability, or you can view this as upgrading, you know, your ability to increase your tolerance, your fortitude, your resilience, your fuse, drop, rebound, your upgrade here. And I just finished reading the book Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. It's a very well-known book, and I'm surprised I haven't read it sooner, truthfully. But one of the things that he talks about, and I don't remember exactly what he calls it, but there's this idea of basically like debriefing what happened and something that you could do to aim higher in the face of a setback and ensuring that you don't become worse off when there's a setback, but you become better, is a post-mortem one-liner. Because X happened, I will do Y differently next time. Because a prospect didn't show up, I will have more follow-ups beforehand. Because I started doom scrolling while I was supposed to be doing a task, I will keep my phone in another room. Just essentially adding one guardrail, one post-mortem, one line, one little sentence that simply encapsulates what you could improve on, and then you can just move on. It's it. Just refinement. Just as quickly and easy as that. And the thing to be aware of here is that your attention is the asset. A system like this, the four frameworks to the system, protects your attention by removing decision debt and switching costs. My background is in software engineering, as you know, and something early on, I don't know if he would be considered my boss, but he was the software lead. He talked about this way back then, and then I recently had a conversation this week that also came up in the same lane of IT software developers. And they talked about the cost of switching attention for developers and how expensive it is and how difficult it is for a software engineer that is focused on a singular problem to then halfway in the problem have to switch over to another task and start solving another problem, and just how much basically decision debt that accumulates. And I think that's true across all facets. It's context switching, it's decision debt, it's, you know, all of these things pulling us in other directions. And if you don't have a plan on how you intend to react or move forward from these things, they can end up costing you days and weeks and months. I talk to business owners every single day, and the thing that floors me the most, I gotta tell you, and I also gotta say, not all business owners are created equal. The lack of urgency around making decisions, informed decisions, costs them incredibly. Like I have people that will hit me up 6 months ago and then finally reach out again and say, hey, I'm finally ready to move forward. And I'm like, what changed? And they're like, nothing. We just realized we did nothing over the last 6 months when we said we were going to do something, but you know, we didn't take any action. We did, you know, we got pulled in another direction that was completely off course, a distraction. Next, your identity follows behavior. This is something we've talked about a lot, but those small controlled wins, those are going to stack belief in your favor pretty quickly, especially when you start adding those postmortems into effect. So when you can prove to yourself you can rebound, you start dropping less. And I'll give an example here. In the Matt Pashak episode, I asked him about his views on running meta ads and if it's just data to him at this point, like the ad spend and things like that. And he was like, yeah, at this point it is. I think that is also applicable to almost everything that we go through, because it is simply information to help us strengthen our identity and our behaviors, or weaken them. An example might be when I first ran the LA Marathon in 2024, I was really disappointed. I was like really bummed about it. But now, after having ran a couple, I realize that is just information for improvement. That's it. I will drop a little bit less. If I don't hit a PR or I don't hit the time I want, that is just information for me to improve or change something the next time I do it. Lastly, recovery fuels output. So sleep, nutrition, and stillness, they're not escapes, they are inputs. So if they help you do one thing better, they are productive. And I think that business owners might have a hard time doing that, stepping away. I got a lot of examples here today. I have a friend that will spend half of his day just thinking and marinating on problems. It's like full stillness for his business, which is complete strategic thinking. And I love it. I think that's beautiful. And the last note I'll give here, which is probably not conducive to what I would hope for your behaviors, but I've been off of social media for a week or two, and as you know, if you're a longtime follower of the podcast, I'll do a little reverse bender, as they say, a detox on the socials. And this is probably the first time I've ever felt energy back into my noggin, more clarity, essentially. Like, I don't know if just the dopamine hits have gotten stronger as, you know, we've all built a tolerance over the last X amount of years that social media has been out. But I can immediately see reverse effects of being away from it. And this type of recovery has drastically improved overall my productivity and working in life. And of course, not being distracted. But that is besides the point. So something to help you with your focus, you can do a weekly focus cadence in the following way. On Sundays, 10 minutes. Just pick the one thing you're focusing on, and then you can write 3 actions that complete it. This is very bare bones, so it should be pretty straightforward to knock out. If you wanted to, you could do a daily 5-minute little touch base of reviewing your fuse, like what are those triggers for you, the drop, the rebound, and the upgrade, those core 4 that I mentioned. And then you can visualize one of your triggers and how you would respond. Next, you could do a little lunchtime, midday, 2 minutes restart ritual to essentially have the next small action in place. And then nightly, you could do this. It takes like 2 to 3 minutes. 1 line postmortem, 1 guardrail to add so you get stronger every day. Those are pretty quick, easy, and dirty ways to increase the likelihood that you will be focused and have mental toughness. So here's a few things that you can also cut this week. If you want to get crazy, you can bust out the Eisenhower matrix. But 1 would be inputs that don't increase output on your one thing. 2, meetings with no decisions. 3, scrolling before your first deep work block. That'd be great. Good challenge for y'all. 4, caffeine as a substitute for sleep or recovery. And 5, any task that makes you feel busy but doesn't move the metric. We don't like busy work around here, all right? This is the 2nd episode I've been touching on it. Busy work should be the opposition of what you're trying to accomplish. Some final thoughts. Mental toughness isn't about feeling nothing. It's about acting right when you feel everything. I think that is a great line to keep in place, but having the plan in place when you do feel everything is what's going to protect your attention. It's going to train your rebound. It's going to train yourself to rebound quicker, and it's going to let those hard moments, and with those core 4 in place, it's going to allow the difficult moments in life to strengthen you rather than take the strength out of you. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Please subscribe so we can continue the conversation. This has been the Nickolas Natali Show. Thank you for your time. Bye.